You are now listening to The Perfect Prana with Kyah Ann. What's poppin'? What's good? You're listening to The Perfect Prana show on 88.1 FM WCRX, also available on Apple and Spotify. I'm Kyah Ann, your host and a yoga enthusiast. If you love yoga, this is the perfect place to be. And if you do not love yoga, this is still the perfect place to be because I have a great show up for you guys today. Yoga News, where I talk about things that are going on in the world, how it relates to yoga. Yoga Heals, where I bring on a special guest and talk to them about their practice, and the weekly wellness challenge, where I've been following the 8 limbs of yoga. But before we get into all of that, let's center ourselves. So no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, you're sitting in the car driving, you're laying down on the couch, you're on a walk, doesn't matter. Let's take this moment to focus in on our breath, to focus in on our prana. Prana translating to breath as in the breath of life, our life energy source. It has many translations. But let's just take a moment to go inward. So sit up nice and tall, or if you're laying down, go ahead and lengthen out your spine so breath can effortlessly move through you. And start to relax each part of your body. Think about yourself from head to toe, all the way down from your toes. Relaxing your feet, relaxing your ankles, relax your knees, your thighs, relax your tummy. Let it go fully. Relax your chest, relax your shoulders, your neck, relax your eyes. Soften your gaze maybe, or close your eyes. Relax your jaw, your eyebrows. Even relax the crown of your head. Take a deep inhale through your nose, right into your belly. Let the breath travel upward and hold at the top. And take an even longer exhale and let out a sigh. And push out all of your breath. Take a deep inhale through your nose, filling up all the way, letting the breath travel upward. And hold at the top. And exhale, let out that sigh as you push out all the breath and deflate your belly. And hold at the bottom. Nice smooth inhale through your nose, filling up your belly like a balloon. And then exhale, let out that sigh, expelling anything that you do not need, pushing out the breath completely. Take a deep inhale, letting the breath travel to any part of your body that needs attention and nourishment. And exhale that sigh and expel anything that is unneeded. Come back to a steady rhythm of breath. I am centered. Let's get on with the show. Yoga News. Celebrate Holi, Festival of Colors. I'm not sure if it's Holi or Holi. It's spelled Holi. But anyways, Navy Pier is having its own little festival today, the day that this airs, at 1 p.m. And basically people wear white and then they get a bunch of colored powder thrown on them. And yeah, there will be music and dancing and cool things going on. So it's a free event. And I thought it sounded cool at first, but then I was like, ew, getting powder thrown on me, I don't know. But anyways, it's an Indian tradition, so it's a Hindu thing. I felt obligated to talk about it because all I do is talk about yoga. And, you know, yoga did come from Hinduism, or at least, you know, what I study of it. So I was like, okay, I'll talk about it. I can't really say too much about the festival, but if you're looking for something to do, go to the festival, check it out, read up on the history about it. Next, flexible burglar does yoga routine before swiping croissants from local bakery, video shows. You know, she wasn't doing yoga. We've been studying yoga philosophy, and we all know that one of the limbs of yoga, or one of the yamas, if you will, something part of yoga philosophy, the yogic way to live is non-stealing, and she was stealing croissants, so therefore she was not practicing yoga. Next. So those are just little small things that I wanted to talk about. So the real yoga news: Oprah Winfrey opens up about suffering decades of weight shaming, ridiculed on every late night show. Those of you who don't know Oprah, everybody knows who Oprah is, but anyways, she's always been struggling with her weight. You know, she's fluctuated a lot. She endorsed Weight Watchers for some time, and that helped her to lose weight. And recently, she stepped down from Weight Watchers because she's endorsing the new drug Ozempic, which everybody's talking about because it's the weight loss thing now. You know, their customers vary, but a lot of people have been taking it. You know, a lot of celebrities are accused of taking it, and they probably are. But America does have a huge issue with obesity and being overweight. And is Ozempic the answer to that? I don't think so. In the past year or so, when I really started practicing yoga more, and I did notice, I really honed in on, okay, how can I not overeat? What is overeating? What does that feel like? What does it feel like eating to full capacity? Like, what is that for me? And then how can I not do that? How can I eat mindfully? And a yama in the 8 limbs of yoga, which we've been practicing and studying yoga philosophy, is aparigraha, which is non-attachment, non-possessiveness. Yeah, that's something where maybe I've really kind of had to put into practice and really think about when it comes to my relationship with food, because I definitely would be attached. And every once in a while, I'll still get that feeling, but I definitely used to get that feeling a lot, and I would behave based on the feeling of, man, what I'm eating now is so good, I don't want the experience to end, and I'm just gonna keep eating because, like, I don't want the experience of eating to end. I'd always be so sad, like, now what? Once I finish food, like, man, I want to eat more. Like, I want more. I want more of this reward. It feels amazing, you know? Well, I guess Ozempic changes that. But I know one thing, though. To lose weight, it does not feel like willpower. And that's basically what Oprah was saying, that people just weren't thinking about it. She was always trying so hard. When she got on Ozempic, it felt like she wasn't even trying, basically. And people that aren't struggling with their weight, they're not thinking about it. And I agree. I definitely agree with that. It should not feel like you're trying so hard. And if it does, then you'll probably not stick to it. Because it's been an interesting topic that is even more on the rise. Yoga heals. This week's Yoga Heals. My guest is Amy Bogl, the founder and owner of a Chicago North Side studio, Centered Studios. She's been practicing yoga for a long time, and I'm just excited to talk with her. So let's get on with the show. First, I would like to thank you so much for coming onto my show And I also was told that you have a background with radio as well.
Yeah, so I was actually a DJ for many years before my son was born. He's 11 now. I sort of fell out of DJing when I had the baby. Laszlo is his name. And I had mentioned to one of my friends that I wanted to get back into playing music again, but I really didn't want to do it like out at the bar, which is where I used to DJ. And she's like, "You should totally join Chirp Radio as a DJ." She's like, I'm a DJ there." And so I went through my training at the yoga studio and my real estate practice and an 11-year-old. I just haven't found the time to do my next show, but it's one of my goals for 2024. So hopefully I'll do my
Well,
next show.
hopefully this is a sign of confirmation, slowly coming back to the radio.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
But thank you so much for coming on. So let's just get into the yoga questions. The question that I ask every single person that comes into the show is, when did you start practicing yoga, and why do you still practice yoga today?
Yeah, so I started practicing yoga 29 years ago when I was 19. And that was like, I think back, what is that, 1995? And so I was like driving around, this was in Michigan, and I noticed this yoga studio was like in a strip mall. And I was like, oh, like I've always wanted to try yoga, kind of put it on my radar to pop in. I feel like maybe the internet was like, I don't know, was it even around in 1995? It was not like the way it is now. You wouldn't be like, Googling your favorite studio or, finding studios that way. So I was literally just driving and I saw this place. So I ended up popping in and I took this yoga class. And when it was over, I was walking to my car and I was thinking, you're like in that sort of state of yoga bliss, right? After you finish a class. And I'm walking to my car and I thought, I have to open a yoga studio one day. I've never felt like this before. I've never felt so good. And everyone deserves to feel this way. And so, this was, when I was 19, and I sort of just put this little seed in my head. And then 20 years later, we opened Centered Studios. So took a while, but
Wow, that was an empowering story. I mean, like, I like that you said you planted the seed was in your head, and it took 20 years to grow, but it grew. You have a studio, you're on your ninth year anniversary, and that just puts into perspective how much time goals or endeavors or whatever we want to do, how much time it could take to
yeah,
come into fruition.
yeah, absolutely. I think that it's always nice to think about, your purpose in life and the things that feel good and where you are now and where you want to be and like, the things that you enjoy doing. And even if you can't do them right in the moment, not losing sight of what brings you joy and happiness and fulfillment, and doing small things every day to lead you in that direction.
Yes. I mean, over the course of, I mean, I guess you said you started when you were 19. And how many years has it been since you started practicing yoga?
Yeah, 29 years. It's so wild to think about. It's been like my longest relationship, I feel like my one constant since I began. I always come back to my mat. I definitely have done other exercises and, forms of working out, but I always come back to yoga.
Or has your relationship with yoga changed at all? And I guess what I meant to ask you, yeah, why do you still practice yoga today? I don't think we got
Yeah,
there.
yeah. It makes me completely calm. Like, I have a lot going on, right? I have the yoga studio. We used to be a team of 50. Now we're a team of 25. We're rebuilding post pandemic. And then I transitioned into real estate during the pandemic. So I have all of my real estate clients. And then I have my son, my friends, just like a lot of people and information going through me, and I need to stay calm for everyone, stay strong for everyone. And yoga really helps me do that. And so you had asked, has my practice changed over the years? Obviously, when I was 19, I did not have my son and, all of these businesses. And so it was really about staying in shape, learning flexibility, becoming more flexible, finding out, there's so many different styles of yoga, which style, resonated with me. As I got older, it really became more about slowing down. So when I was younger, I loved taking like 90-minute Ashtanga classes or like hour, 45-minute like power yoga, super sweaty, lots of Bikram, like very intense, like super yang yoga. And as I got older, probably in my 30s and definitely in my 40s, it's really about, you know, slowing down and obviously moving my body. I think that movement every day is so important, not just for your physical body, but also for your mind. And so just about, you know, staying flexible, staying strong for myself, for my son, for my community, and really slowing down. A lot of times, that 75-minute class is the only time in my entire day that I have for myself to have a moment to like press the reset button, have like a sense of calm. And so I really look forward to practicing.
Thank you so much for sharing. You know what I wanted to get into next, or do you currently have any goals within your yoga practice? Which you kind of did say you want to go to 25 classes a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So in January, I did these 25 classes and I didn't have like a goal or anything. It worked out that in January, those were the classes I could take. And I felt so good in January, so strong, so not stiff. As I get older, I notice like when I get out of bed in the morning, I'm like, God, I'm so stiff. Like it was not like this in my 20s. Like your body just changes. And so I was sleeping really well in January. I try to get 8 hours of sleep every night, and I just felt like fantastic. And so I had actually, I don't think I mentioned this, but I'm an open water swimmer. And so I swam until November 30th. And then I was sort of like, what am I going to do? I typically swim in the pool, but I decided I don't really enjoy that. And I really wanted 2024 to be about things that I only enjoyed doing. And so I was I had at that point just been practicing yoga on Monday nights once a week. And so I was like, what if you like recommitted to your yoga practice and, like the old days when you were in your 20s? And so I'm like, I'm going to give this a go again. And so, January happened and I was thinking, wow, I feel so incredible. I'm just going to keep going with this. So February, same thing, lots of yoga. And then now here we are kind of, mid end of March. And yeah, just still committed to this goal of taking as many classes as I can. So, um, other goals, I'm not a certified yoga teacher. I own the studio. I think about getting certified all the time. And so I was thinking just this week, I think in 2025, that's going to be a goal of mine that I finally get certified and then start teaching at the studio.
At your studio, would you ever consider offering teacher trainings?
It's something that we've talked about. Right now, I do not feel interested in that. It's funny, it just came up. I was talking to Paris and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you would be so great at, doing teacher trainings." And I definitely feel like we could offer an excellent teacher training, but there's so many other studios doing teacher trainings, and I love that we are a place where people who have gone through teacher training can come and start teaching at our space. We're one of the few yoga studios that don't require a minimum of teaching experience. We really feel like you have to start somewhere. And so we have a lot of teachers who don't have teaching experience. They're fresh out of their training. Um, and so I feel like right now, that's sort of how I want to support teacher training or, recent grads of teacher training. Definitely a thought. I don't even want to say it's on the radar, but it's something we have discussed. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? One thing I always say is one thing I know for sure is that I never know what's going to happen. So we'll see. Yeah.
um, yeah, honestly, that is a great motto to have. And thank you so much for doing that because I know it is hard to like get a job at an actual studio. And as soon as I got out of teacher training, I went to the gym, but even being able to teach at a studio is different and better in some aspects, just because there's more resources. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for sharing with me about your practice and then also your journey to opening centered studios. It's crazy that started off as just an idea
Yeah.
long ago to see what it's grown into. So that is beautiful. Before we go, I always ask my guests to lead us through pranayama. I know that you said you actually don't teach. I could see you being a teacher. And I say, if you can lead yourself through pranayama, you can lead anybody through pranayama. So it could just be a quick few breaths of just like,
I actually feel like I cannot do that. I feel so nervous. So I will have to do a second episode after my teacher training when I feel like I can actually lead you guys through. It's so
No
funny.
worries, no worries. No, for the sake of it, I was like, I had a feeling. I was like, you know what? I will lead the pranayama practice. It's a rite of passage since my first episode. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall, create a nice line of energy from your tail to your crown so breath can effortlessly move through you. And take note of your entire body, of all your senses. What do you feel? What do you taste? What can you hear? What do you see? What do you smell? And then take a deep inhale through your nose, right into your belly, and let the breath travel up. And exhale passively. Then take one more deep inhale through your nose before we start this cycle, letting the breath travel up the spine, And as you exhale the breath, pushing out everything completely, letting the breath leave in a downward motion. And push everything out. And then take a deep inhale with me for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and then exhale. 2, 3, 4, and then hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4. And then let your breath come back to a steady rhythm. And that was the pranayama practice. So with that being said, namaste.
Namaste.
You're listening to the Perfect Prana Show on 88.1 FM WCRX. Also available on Apple and Spotify, where I post extended versions. Weekly Wellness Challenge. Last week's challenge, tapas, discipline, burning desire, passion. Yeah, that's what we were practicing. This week's weekly challenge, it's self-study. It's very hard to say. This is like one of the hardest things for me to say. Like, man, whatever. Studying is important. This actually came in the perfect time because this week I decided that I am dedicating my life to learning. Find a book this week, a self-help book of some sort, some text or article or something that you feel like helps you to be a better person or helps you learn more about something. It could be about history. It could be about how to do blah, 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 about how to just turn into this better person. It could be a business book. It could be, there's a lot of self-help books. It could be a religious text if you'd like it to be. It's like whatever resonates with you and on your self-improvement. Like, and then read a chapter of it or a section of it or however the book is formatted. Read a section of the book or a chapter of the book, and then get out your good dandy journal and write about what you've read, about your interpretation of what you read. Do you agree with what you read? Do you understand what you read? Like comprehension, right? Like we're going back to elementary school. But I think that, yeah, I don't know. This will be fun. This will be cool for me. I don't know what I'm going to read or what it's going to be for me. But I do know that I am going to do this. I am going to pick a book, read a section of it, and then write about it. It's been great talking to you guys. You know what time it is. Before I go, let me leave you with a quote. And it is a Socrates quote. This is something that I've realized myself. But the quote is, "The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing." Socrates. Just pulled that up off the internet. But I wanted to use this quote again because earlier I said I decided I'm dedicating my life to learning. I'm on a lifelong journey to learn. I don't want to ever stop learning. The knowledge is infinite. So I don't ever want to close myself off to learning. And if I do, I hope that I have the awareness to bring it all in, check myself and say, hey, Kyah, you don't know everything. You have more to learn. And it's okay if something is being repeated because guess what? Repetition is the father of learning. That's the show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be back with you next week. Saturdays at 10 a.m., Sundays at 9 a.m. on WCRX. Check me out on Apple and Spotify, and I will be making these podcasts available on YouTube. With that being said, may the light and divinity in me bow to the light and divinity within you. Namaste.